This is Mongolian Mindset, and today me and PC are going to be doing something different. We're going to be watching the dirtiest cop in NYPD history, or what they claim is, and we're going to be figuring out his personality type. So comment below what you think, what personality type you think would have the dirtiest, will lead to being the dirtiest cop. Okay. You guys know we use Linda Band's interaction styles and Tiffany combined with cognitive functions. We have a breakdown of all these online. Just go searching for them. Also, the cognitive functions. If you want more in depth with us, you can join our Discord and join our Demigod Dojo, where you can have one-on-one with PC and Zara, where they literally have all the books and everything online PDF ready for you to read and test and quiz you to see your actual level and help and improve you. So if that sounds like you, go ahead and join our Discord. And if you want us to type somebody for you or type you have to join our Discord. It all starts from there. PC, anything you want to say about this cop before we get into this shit?
No, let's start her up.
Yeah, I know you guys are thinking. You're probably thinking it's got to be a dirty ass ENTP, right? It's got to be the dirty ass ENTP, right? With FI Trickster or something. Who knows? So, guys, we cannot use personality database because he's not on there. But we do have the chart here. And we'll be knocking it off as we go, ladies and gentlemen. Travis Scott, get the fuck out of here. All righty, ladies and gentlemen.
I've never heard a story like this in my life. A story of drug trafficking, bribery, kidnapping, and even murder, which earned you the nickname of America's dirtiest cop. And I want to know everything.
Okay? But let's just be clear. If you choose to have a conversation with me about this, you're going to hear things that you won't like.
This motherfucker really crying.
Let me just say this. Being a New York cop was the greatest job in the world, but it's not built for somebody to come in and be the knight in shining armor. You're working minimum wage. Civilians are against you, and you're directly told not to make drug arrests.
Why?
Oh, because they got a budget to manage. And the average amount of overtime for one crack arrest was 18 hours. So that leads to the streets becoming unwieldy. So what happens is a guy like me who's entrepreneurial spirit shows up and says, there's a way to control this. I can't arrest them, so I tax them.
And that escalated.
Greed is powerful, bro.
But what happens then?
You become God. I was making more than the president of the United States by protecting one of the largest drug trafficking organizations in New York. But I was losing control, and I became the face of New York City's corruption problem. People wanted me dead.
And then in 1992, you were arrested and you admitted to hundreds of crimes. But what about your family at this point?
You know, that was tough. They're really special people.
Mike, we spoke to your parents. Do you want to see what they said?
I'm Carol Dowd, and I'm Michael Dowd's mother.
Oh, damn.
This has always blown my mind a little bit. 53% of you that listen to this show regularly haven't yet subscribed to this show.
You know what? You motherfuckers need to subscribe to the channel as well. Listen to what he's saying. There's a large percent of you guys not subscribed. Subscribe to the fucking channel. All right? There's always a chunk of people that not subscribe to watch every damn video, you bastards.
So could I ask you for a favor before we start? If you like the show and you like what we do here and you want to support us, the free, simple way that you can do just that is by hitting the subscribe button. And my commitment to you is if you do that, then I'll do everything in my power, me and my team, to make sure that this show is better for you every single week. We'll listen to your feedback, we'll find the guests that you want me to speak to, and we'll continue to do what we do. Thank you so much.
I know somebody's going to be in the comments. What's Stephen Barnett's type, Mercer? What's Stephen Barnett's type? Well, fucking join the Discord and request him. Fuck you.
Mike, when people do interviews with you, they often describe you as New York's dirtiest cop.
Right.
And I watched that over and over again in your interviews. And I wondered as I watched people calling you New York's dirtiest cop, how that makes you feel.
Not good. Yeah, and that's a touchy subject, but I accept it. And I've turned it into something where I'm able to maybe chaperone an audience because of it, but it's not.
I've turned it into something I could chaperone the audience to. I'm gonna say that's NE flipping, baby. That's that NE flip, and that's also some interest there, baby.
nice to hear that. More importantly, it's not nice for your parents to hear something like that. And well, thank God they're still alive. But, you know, it's not the happy day when your mother sees your name on the front page of the newspaper, I'll tell you that, and for nothing good, you know.
And how many crimes did you commit while you were a New York cop?
So it may have been thousands, because every time I did something that was inappropriate. So you got to step back for a second. Every time a police officer puts on his badge and swears that oath and takes the job on, he's basically taking a risk on everything he does that can end him up in jail. Everything. And that's really a very difficult position to be in. Everything you do legitimately can end you up being sanctioned or arrested. So I would suggest basically anything I did or any interaction I did could have been considered with some kind of criminal intent.
And still on the top line, just painting the picture here, before we get into the detail, what are the variety of crimes that you committed as a New York police officer?
So every time you take something from somebody, money, cash, drugs, personal property, let's say.
I see like he's like dodging the question. He asked you what you did, but you got to give extra information to kind of like go around it. PC, you picking up on that? He's asked a pretty straightforward question, but Buddy's like, no. We got to hit you.
He's definitely got his own way of explaining stuff.
Before we get into the detail, what are the variety of crimes that you committed as a New York police officer?
So every time you take something from somebody, money, cash, drugs, personal property, let's say, it's basically a robbery, because you have a gun on your hip and you're using a position of power. So you would start with robbery, extortion, burglary, when you went into someone's home and came out with a product. I mean, I've taken tapes from, back in the day, those VCR tapes, there was a lot of good stuff in some VCR tapes. I mean, we can get a little humorous here, but the reality was, some guy's porn collection might be missing. I mean, these are the things that you ran into. Their cash, their gold coins, whatever was. When someone's dead, it's really hard for them to complain about what's missing. So, it's ironic, it's stupid, and it's debauchery at the same time. So you cross all the lines of decorum when you do something like that.
Did you steal someone's porn collection?
Maybe.
Really?
It could have been. But they were dead.
They were dead.
They were dead. They couldn't use it anymore. I mean, they were smoking crack, okay? So I'm in the 94th precinct in Brooklyn now, which is Williamsburg, where you say was a lovely place. And it was. It was becoming lovely when we were there. They started opening up some studios. We got a call for a dead on arrival. Someone was murdered. So we show up, and the guy's sitting in his couch with a knife in his side. I mean, you walk into this home, and there's a guy on his couch like this, sitting there with a hole in his side, with the knife still in it. He's bled out. And the place looked like there was a party that didn't stop. So while there, I'm sitting around waiting for the boss to show up and the squad to show up, the detective squad to show up. And I'm looking around, rummaging a little bit, looking for the evidence of the crime scene. And sure enough, I hit the button on the VCR, and there's a porn. They got the porn on the fucking TV. So I'm saying, okay, he's dead. There's crack. Evidence of, there was no crack there, by the way. It was all gone. No one leaves crack behind. The cigarette smokes were, the ashes were piled out of the ashtrays, and there's beer bottles everywhere. So it's July. It's 100 degrees, and this apartment has no air conditioning in it. So what does any self-respecting 20-something-year-old man want?
This is pretty informing.
Not the porn, per se,
but
the beer. Right? So I'm looking around.
We're just walking you through it, and he's like slowly like making it not as bad as what he really did. If you see that, like his tactic is to walk you through it, and like slowly but surely he like chips it down to where it's almost something you feel like you would do yourself. Very, very, very smooth move, I'd say.
Around, every beer bottle's empty, and right below the apartment is a bodega, right below it. Like upstairs is the dead guy, and downstairs is the bodega. So we go downstairs, and we tell the guy, listen, we're going to be upstairs for a couple hours. He hands us a 6-pack of Coors Light. You can't make the story up. We walk in, me and my partner, Tom, and in comes the detective. We each have a beer. We're sitting there bullshitting, waiting for the boss to show up. Boss walks in. She looks around. She goes, I want every beer bottle in here printed. She says, and in the refrigerator. Now, I just put the fucking 6-pack in the refrigerator when she walked in. So I'm going, now picture this. They know I'm corrupt, okay? But they can't prove it. I'm on what you would call secret probation, even though I'm not on probation. They're watching me like a hawk. Now I got a detective who's looking at me like, we just had a beer. Our fucking fingerprints are inside the refrigerator. And he's scared. I'm not. I mean, I'm going to take a hit, I guess, right? So I go, Sarge. She goes, what? In that refrigerator, there's a 6-pack of Coors Light. And my fingerprints are on the bottles in the refrigerator. She looks at me, she goes, of course it's you. She goes, of all the people in this fucking police department, it would be your fingerprints inside the refrigerator on a Coors Light bottle at a homicide scene. And there's only 4 homicides in this precinct this year, and you've been on 3 of them. You've been at the scene of 3 of them. So I go, yeah, it doesn't look too good, does it, son? She goes, I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to go to my car, and I'm going to make a phone call, whatever I got to do. She said, get rid of that, and don't do it again.
Did you steal the porn collection?
Yes. It was already in the car.
It was already in the
I
car.
already had it. I mean, that's what he had. A knife in his belly and a porn collection.
You didn't steal the knife,
No, I couldn't. It was evidence.
but you put his porn collection in your car.
Yeah.
Wow. And you do originally train to become an accountant and drop out because of a woman, right?
Yes.
And you wanted
Crazy.
to follow her. So you end up joining the
crazy.
police academy in 1982, 21
Motherfucker
years
dropped
old.
out accounting.
And
Follow a woman.
when you joined the police academy, did you do it because you wanted to be a police officer? And because you wanted to serve and defend?
No, that's not why I joined.
Why
I
did you
joined
join?
because I wanted a job.
Because you wanted a job. And so when you stood there and took that oath,
Right.
did you mean it?
No. I mean, I guess so. So the answer so if you say no, I mean, that means that you have no concern or care. So it was an immature yes.
So you take that oath, you don't
Yeah,
really mean
but
it.
he know just how to say it. The flavor.
I'm embarrassed if I say, I want to be truthful because I don't like to lie. I felt
don't
pride when I said it. Is that, so I thought,
Or you don't like to lie. This motherfucker here, boy.
I felt full of
Dirty
pride when I
thought.
said it.
And as part of your training to become a police officer, you do some integrity training,
Yes.
some like ethics training to make sure that police officers are like straight and narrow and understand.
So one of the
ethics.
things that I would suggest on that statement or that whole genre is it wasn't necessarily, we weren't necessarily trained on integrity or ethics. We were trained on, this is what would happen to you if. Don't take $5 from a motorist or $50 from a motorist because that will lead to one, you being arrested and being all over the news, and then all the cops are going to hate you. Like, it was never really explained to you as a student in the academy, the depth of the lack of integrity and what you're actually affecting.
Okay. But like the fundamental issue if we don't trust law enforcement and the downstream consequences.
Thanks for saying it that way. Yes, because it destroys the very fabric of what people trust in law enforcement. Because when you need help, you got to call somebody, and the person that shows up has to be trustworthy. Now, I would argue, because I robbed money from drug dealers and even their drugs, you can still trust me, right? That's what I would argue. Because if you're not doing those things, essentially, you're safe with me, and I will give you the best police service
that flip
that you ever
again.
asked for, and probably go
I said, there's that like moral flip.
Yeah. Funny as hell, boy. This guy's funny as hell.
above and beyond to help you.
There was some kind of comment made at the end of your training by an internal affairs academy instructor, which basically said to be successful as a cop, don't follow these rules, the ethics rules that you were just given.
So yes, so that wasn't the internal affairs officer that said that. That would be your academy instructor.
Okay.
Yeah. So ironic, he said to me, us in the academy class, if you live by the rules that these guys espouse, internal affairs, you'll never make a successful cop. Just cover your ass. That was his words. Just cover your ass.
What do they mean by that? Always have a reason, always have an excuse?
Basically, you hit it on the head. Like, so, and have, if you have a partner, be on the same page. So let's say something was handled inappropriately. Maybe there was some excessive force used, which I'm not fond of and nor am I in favor of. But there may be times where you might have given a guy an extra elbow. It happens. You know, you're mad.
You see how he walks you through it? Like, you know, I'm not fond of it, you know, knowing that he probably done gave somebody a lot of extra elbows, but you see how he knows how to word it perfectly.
You spit in my face. I put the cuffs on you. I give you a shot. Do you hit the door on the way in? Sometimes. So as long as your partner and you have the story straight, you can pretty much, without these cameras today, get away with most things that are not unreasonable.
And the police all kind of agree that they won't snitch on each other.
That's the general rule.
And it's called, I read this term, the blue wall of silence.
Yes, right. So let's just be clear. The first person that's going to snitch on you is going to be a cop, okay? However, more chances than not, they try not to. And that's just the facts. Because what cop wants to go out on patrol knowing that if something goes down and it goes a little sideways from where it's supposed to go, let's say you and I were working together and you just told on me last week and now someone's pummeling you to death in the street, I have a chance to help you, or I can call for backup and wait, you know? So you don't want that relationship with me, right? I mean, we're trying to get home tonight.
Yeah.
So it really
you don't want that relationship any. This is all motive spill here, guys.
Puts people in a very precarious position.
Because you need those other cops for your own personal survival. So,
correct.
So you don't want to be snitching on other cops.
Yeah. It's, you know, I mean, it's really not built. That position in this society is not built for somebody to come in and be the knight in shining armor and say, listen, Officer Dowd, that was not appropriate. I'm going to have to report you right now. Before he goes to report me, I'm going to either bludgeon him to death because now he's taking my livelihood away. He's taking the food off the table of my family. You don't look at it as like you're getting the guy in trouble. You look at it as you're taking a career, a livelihood, incarceration. I mean, these are the things that can happen. Like I said, the minute you put that badge on, and I just get to this, is the minute that the job is looking to take something from you.
Motive.
Yeah.
Motive.
To report you right now. Before he goes to report me, I'm going to either bludgeon him to death because now he's taking my livelihood away. He's taking the food off the table of my family. You don't look at it as like you're getting the guy in trouble. You look at it as you're taking a career, a livelihood, incarceration. I mean, these are the things that can happen. Like I said, the minute you put that badge on, and I just get to this, is the minute that the job is looking to take something from you.
Take something from you. Interesting.
Like, think about that. A mechanic goes to work and they say, can you get 6 cars done today? I'll try. You got 6, it is a bonus for you at the end of the day. A cop goes to work and they're looking to screw him the whole time.
Who's looking to screw him?
The department and the civilians. I didn't like the way he handled me. They make a complaint. Your boss goes, I got the people complaining, Dowd. I'm going to have to give you a shit assignment or I'm going to have to change your assignment. I mean, the whole time, someone's against you.
They're trying to find some kind of chink in your armor, something you did wrong.
Yeah, and it's really to cover their ass. Back to the beginning.
You see that shit, bro? He's such a fucking swindling
snake.
motherfucker. He's got you.
He's a fucking snake. Yeah.
Bro, he's got you. Right now, if you're his friend, you're a new cop, you heard his story, you're doing the same thing he's doing. Right there, right then and there. As soon as he give you that story right there, he's got you doing the same fucked up shit as him.
Very, very difficult position. A fireman goes to work. You know what they do? They save lives. They put out fires. They eat a good meal. They have a great gym. No one's in there going, they have rules and decorum.
And guys, you got to be mindful that there's a certain personality, 2 certain personality types that can sell you a dream like no other personality type can. And that's going to be your any doms. They can sell you a dream and make you want to do some shit, okay? They sell you a dream all the way down the fucking road, okay? I can't, like, my ENTP friends are always selling dreams, especially the girls. got them buying in on the potential of everything.
But no one's going, we're looking to take you for this. We're looking to stripe you for that. The civilians aren't walking into a firehouse and going, I didn't like the way that truck backed out and the siren blasted and hurt my ears. They're going, yay, they're going to save someone's life. A cop shows up on the scene. He's going to give me a ticket. He's going to arrest my husband. My husband beat me and he doesn't believe me. I mean, it's such a grating position to be in.
When we're thinking about the factors, the environmental factors that led you to make the decisions that you made, one of the big factors that I was looking into at the time was there was obviously this crack epidemic, but then it also seemed like the police at the time didn't actually want you to arrest people.
Yes, that's correct.
I saw some crazy stat, which I'm sure you'll be able to account for me, but in the sort of decade that you were a police officer, you didn't do that many arrests.
No.
How many?
43.
You did what?
43 arrests.
You did 43 arrests in how many years?
Well, I mean, total 10 years, but yeah. So not all of that was patrol, but yeah. So it doesn't matter. I mean, I can make 43 arrests in a month, okay, if I really wanted to.
If you weren't corrupt at that time, how many arrests do you think you probably should have made in those 10 years based on the crimes that you observed?
That's literally 4.3 arrests a year.
500.
Okay, so about 90% of the things you should have arrested someone for, you didn't, roughly.
Correct.
Okay, and why weren't you making more arrests?
You couldn't keep the police on patrol if they were making arrests.
They were clogging up the system.
The system would get so jammed up. The average amount of overtime for one.
Were you gonna say that, PC?
I said motive.
Yeah.
And he's going to keep going into it. He's talking
On
about what
crack.
the way the system, what the system gets out of certain fucking implications and stuff like that.
Arrest was 18 hours.
You would be paid for that.
Paid time and a half.
Okay, so then the department has to pay you more money if you do an arrest.
And then process the arrest. And they all get processed through the correction system. And they all get processed through the court system. I mean, you're talking 150,000 arrests a year in Brooklyn alone. That's a lot of numbers if you just keep cranking at it. And everybody's getting 18 hours overtime per arrest.
And who's paying for all these arrests at the end of the day?
Well, the city. And
the
people.
city's paying. So the city don't want you to be arresting people.
Oh, because they got a budget to manage.
Were you ever directly told to stop arresting
Yes.
people?
Again, motive. Yeah. Everything is motive to
How's
this
this?
guy.
Yeah, everything's motive, bro. So, guys, we're just gonna go ahead and start eliminating a few types here. He's informative and he's also interest. So, PC, go ahead and kill informative and interest. So that means
Okay, so
he's either ESFP, ENFP, ISFP, or an INFP, ladies and gentlemen. That's basically because he's motive. And yeah, so yeah. What's gonna be crazy is trying to figure out this bitch motherfucker's Enneagram. That's what's gonna be fucking. I'm just going to be like, yo, I don't know.
You really didn't make a dent on it. And now there's two men off patrol. And then your next assignment was the desk. You're making arrests, causing a problem.
Yeah.
The city's paying for it. There's less police available. And the robberies, the murders, and the rapes in those communities were extremely high. They rather have them sell crack than people get robbed and raped and murdered. Does that make sense? Of course it does.
Yeah, so it's all incentives. I think if you look at any system, you'll understand why people behave they do if you understand the incentive structure. Right. And in your case, if you made more arrests of criminals, then the city would have
that was actually pretty cool.
A bill because they had to.
You're watching a systematic person like in real time starting to pick up motive.
Yeah.
In that last sentence. Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Pay cops overtime to take care of the admin work, but also they're going to have more cops off the street.
Right.
So, guys, remember, if someone's systematic, they do have the capabilities to understand interest as well, just not first. It's not first. It's not primary, right? Sometimes they, like, as in PC, kind of always sees the interest behind shit. Like, it takes me a while to, like, grasp it sometimes. Like, he have to, like, point it out and be like, and I'm like, oh, I didn't see that, you know. But that's basically what you see in there, man. Like,
which could also lead to more crime. More crime.
Yes.
So you were incentivized not to arrest people.
Correct.
Okay.
So what does that lead to? That leads to the streets becoming unwieldy. You're like, there's no control. So what happens is a guy like me who's entrepreneurial spirit shows up and says, there's a way to control this.
You see that? You see this? You know what he saw was he saw potential,
Mm.
opportunity, oppor. I remember when we were kids, me and my brother used to call Christian an opportunist, right? That interest is an opportunist, motherfucker. Like,
Mm.
potential here. I got an opportunity to make some money.
I tax these people or arrest them, one of the two. And I can't arrest them, so I tax them.
And let's talk about that first experience of you taxing the first person, which I think was in 1983. Your starting salary when you joined the police was $18,000 a year, roughly.
Yes.
And you pulled someone over in 1983.
Yes.
And that's the first time.
That's the first time there was a tax levied.
That was the first time you committed a crime, I guess, as a police officer.
No, but the first time that I committed an actual money crime, I would say. Yeah.
How old are you at that point in
Wait,
history?
what the fuck?
23?
How the hell that? I'm lost. I'm lost. Oh Lord, he done lost me. Wait, PZ, did you catch that? This motherfucker
The
think
money crime.
he thought he the smoothest talker on the planet.
Let's talk about that first experience
yeah.
of you taxing the first person, which I think was in 1983. Your starting salary when you joined the police was $18,000 a year, roughly.
Yes.
And you pulled someone over in 1983.
Yes.
And that's the first time.
That's the first time there was a tax levied.
Tax levy.
It was the first time you committed a crime, I guess, as a police
Committed a crime, because that is a fucking crime.
officer.
Yes.
No, but the first time that I
No.
He's asking for a bribe.
committed
A
an
tax
actual
levy means a bribe.
money crime, I would say. Yeah.
How old are you at that point in
Then he says it's a money crime. Bitch, shut the
Yeah.
fuck up.
He's
T.I.
trying to
trickster.
flip it.
T.I.
Yeah.
trickster. Woo!
No,
But they
I
can
don't
flip some
even
shit.
I don't even necessarily think that was T.I. Trickster, man. That was just him flipping the fucking, because
I mean,
he
but
knows he knows that it's immoral, so he's just trying to fucking flip it.
he said
The
it wasn't
way
a
it's
crime, though.
interpreted.
He said it wasn't a crime. That's a fucking crime. That's a fucking crime. Taking a bribe is a fucking crime as a police. So he said it wasn't a crime. And then he said it was. Like, bruh, you are literally contradicting yourself in fucking real time. That's some T.I. trickster shit.
83.
23, 24, yeah. And that was basically, we called it a Puerto Rican mystery back then. I know that I'm famous for saying that. And people are, listen, that's what they called it, all right?
I'm famous for saying that TFI.
Because the guy was from Puerto Rico and he had no paperwork, no license or anything like that. And he just bought the car.
You'd pulled him over.
Pulled him over, no plates.
No plates, right?
You just came here from Puerto Rico. You got a stack of hundreds in your bag. And I'm looking, I'm saying, you got like $2,000 worth of tickets and I'm supposed to take your car from you. I said, but, I like lobster. Leave me enough money for a lobster lunch. This whole thing can go away. So the kid was quick on his feet. He left a couple $100 under my briefcase on the back seat. He got out and I said, I don't want to ever see you again. Unless you got some more lobster lunch money later. Of course, I didn't say that. And of course, I left that scene with the money.
You see, like when he went about
Yeah.
telling him about what he wanted, he did it in an informative way so that the guy would have to figure it out, right? That's what
Yeah.
informing is like really good at. Like, I always talk about my cousin. He would ask me, I'd be eating something, and then he'd be like, "Man, that shit look good." He's literally asking me, "Can he have a piece?" And I'd have to decode it in real time
Mm.
to figure out that his fuck ass wants a piece instead of just asking for it directly, right? And that's kind of what he's doing here. I like lobster. Like basically, motherfucker, you better leave me like $200.
And I
Yeah,
was
it's,
very uncomfortable.
What you say, PZ?
I was going to say it's really good for picking up women or for crime, but not great in the workplace.
Yeah. Well, I think me personally, I think direct language is overrated. I think informing language is actually better, because no matter what you do, you can always get out of a certain situation. You can just always say, "Well, I didn't mean it like that," or "That's how you interpret it," right? They can't really hold your ass to the fire like they can with a direct person. Right. Direct is, and then also if you're talking about like getting people to want to buy into something, which is what you basically have to do nowadays, regardless of the situation, unless you're like in a powerful situation, informing language is going to help you get people to buy in. So, like me personally, from my perspective, I think informing language is actually better than direct. Um, so
Well,
that's my thoughts.
it can depend on the person.
Yeah.
Me, to me, I've always found informing to be rather passive aggressive.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if you
Yeah,
had
yeah.
it kind of has more perks than direct. That's what I'm saying. It has more perks, more potential than direct. Direct is, like how many times are you gonna be in a job where you need to direct people? 2025, really? Not many.
Oh well, no, no, no. Mine, I definitely need direct stuff because you need to be able to take this from point A to point B, and you don't want to sit there and listen to 5 minutes of conversation about the context around shit. It's like, no, just tell me the task, tell me where it's going to do, and tell me what's going to stop me from doing the task. That's all I need.
I
But
think
yeah,
that's a small majority of people's time nowadays. That's what I mean. When I say I think it's direct language is overrated, I think informing is better. I think it is. You got more potential, you got more options. You could do more. Um, yeah. And I think it's harder to learn to be more informative if you're direct. But I think being informative, you can learn to be direct easier. That's my thoughts. What about you? What do you think about that, PC?
I know I still prefer direct, man. I can't stand
No, I mean, I'm just
informing.
saying, like, you got more options. Like, you can persuade people to want to do something without telling them to do it. Because I don't care if you're
Mm.
fucking direct or not. If you fucking tell me what to do, I'm gonna look at you like, what you said? And I'm a direct person,
But
like, hmm?
then again, everyone kind of integrates both.
Yeah.
I would rather be direct and use informing language on the odd occasion than vice versa. Because I usually find people who use informing all the time, they don't do well with direct, and it just never comes across properly.
But
Um,
I think, yeah, even if they're informative and they're trying to be direct, they may say, "Oh, I'm being direct," but it's really still informative. Like my brother,
yeah,
he,
yeah.
he he gets like that. But when it comes to like other aspects, people like that a lot better. Like not telling them exactly what to do. That's good when it's like you got a time and task attached to it. But outside of that, like I don't want my homeboy coming up to me to tell me to do something. I'm gonna look at him crazy, like, bro, you better get the fuck out my face. Like straight up. Like, yeah, you better get the fuck out my face. Yeah, don't tell me what to do. But that's why an informed person, the ENTP comes up, hey Mers, man, da 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 da. Da. Then I'm all of a sudden like, yeah, man, I'll do it, man. Yeah, totally different. That's why I say you got more upside. But hey,
Because it was the first time I actually solicited something like that. But it was it's almost like I won something.
As a cop, one of the things we saw in movies back then is cops getting like sexual favors because they're cops.
Yeah.
Did that happen?
I would say it was available and I've some advantage of it, but there was some.
what
Yeah.
the fuck is he saying?
There was some.
Some of it.
I mean, that's
He's
like,
always trying to
you're driving by in a
sugarcoat
police car
his
and a girl
shit.
But
says
he's trying to
hello, and
get out of it.
you
He's
go fuck her. I mean,
always
Yeah.
trying to wring his ass up out of it.
As a cop, one of the things we saw in movies back then is cops getting like
Girls
sexual
like,
favors because they're cops.
oh
Did that
no.
happen?
I would say it was available and I've some advantage of it, but there was some. Yeah. Yeah, there was some. I mean, that's like, you're driving by in a police car and a girl says hello and you go and you go fuck her. I mean, is that like a benefit of the job, or is that, your promiscuity?
Did you ever do that while working?
What the fuck did he just say?
Yes. That's my biggest sin in the world. I
In
got
the-
laid while working.
In the car?
Yes.
Wow.
Why? See, this is the
That's-
shit that
the lights
pisses me off
siren
about
only went off
informing
once.
types.
Yeah.
It's like just you know you're gonna say yes, so why do this fucking dance around the shit?
Well,
You
because
know what I mean?
he's lessening the blow. He's lessening because the way if he just says it directly, it hurts way more. But if he dances around it, he can make it seem as though it's not as bad as what he actually did. You
Yeah,
understand
but
what I'm
see,
saying? That's the
yeah, I
power
get
in
it. But
informing.
to me, that just seems manipulative, and that just fucking, you know what I mean? It turns
But
my
that's part
fucking
of informing is getting
my
people to want to
interest
buy
up. You
in.
know what I mean? I'm just like, oh, this dude's manipulative, slimy fuck, straight away because I know that he's trying to sugarcoat shit. It's kind of weird how it kind of doesn't work the way it's supposed to for certain people. Yeah.
I think he would probably just turn up your your interest radar.
Mm,
For me, he would just be setting off my TI like all the time. Like, what the fuck? Like, bro, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right.
mm,
He'd be really annoyed with me. Like, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. Like, and then you trying to speed past some shit. Slow your ass down. Slow your ass down.
mm,
That's not correct. Um, but it works, man. It works. These guys are good salesmen.
Really?
mm,
That was from the blowjob. It wasn't from the. Yeah, the girl's ass hit the fucking buzzer. I'm like, what the fuck? The big back. It's 3 a.m. You hit the buzzer. I'm in the back of a courtyard of a 9-story building.
Your boss, your sergeant, around that time, did he know that you were doing things like this?
Not then. No. But shortly thereafter, there would be a situation where my sergeant, it was a murder scene, dead kid, 20-year-old, shot in the head, and there was a marijuana spot. There's money, there's drugs, I mean, listen, it's overwhelming when you come across these things, and there's a dead body there, and you're entrusted to handle all this stuff, and you're broke.
Mhm.
And so I took a little thin stack of hundreds and put it in my pocket. Turned out it was like $600. And as the crime scene was being processed, in walks my Sergeant James Otto. He says, "Is this it?" Like 2-3 pounds of marijuana, which is like this much marijuana. It's a fucking big pile of shit. And I don't know, it was like, I don't know, $1,500 in cash stacked all over here. He goes, "Is this it?" I go, "Yeah." I go, but I felt like he was asking me too much. So, well, I did have this, and I take out a thin stack of hundreds. And he goes, "Oh, anything else?" I go, "No, that's it." I said, I didn't want it to get full of blood. Later on that night, I run into him at a choir practice, they would call it. He went out bullshitting, having a couple beers. I said, "Sarge, let me ask you a question. What if," and I say, and I come
Any, run it up.
across
yeah,
money.
yeah.
He said, "What if I kept that 600?" He goes, "I was annoyed that you gave it to me." Like, just picture the moment.
He got his
You're
thumb proof
20-something
with
years old,
authority.
broke. You're coming to work.
Bro,
You're
this guy's
surviving.
hilarious.
You're in
I don't
survival
give a shit what
mode.
no one says.
You're
That's
out
why
having
these
a couple
motherfuckers
beers
so
with your
good at being
buddies, and
comedians
your
and shit.
boss,
This guy's hilarious. I don't give a shit.
I don't know, it was like, I don't know, $1,500 in cash stacked all over here. He goes, "Is this it?" I go, "Yeah." I go, but I felt like he was asking me too much. So, well, I did have this, and I take out a thin stack of hundreds. And he goes, "Oh, anything else?" I go, "No, that's it." I said, I didn't want it to get full of blood. Later on that night, I run into him at a choir practice, they would call it. He went out bullshitting, having a couple beers. I said, "Sarge, let me ask you a question. What if," and I say, and I come across money, and he said, "What if I kept that 600?" He goes, "I was annoyed that you gave it to me." Like, just picture the moment. You're 20-something years old, you're broke. You're coming to work, you're surviving. You're in survival mode. You're out having a couple of beers with your buddies, and your boss, who's got 20 years on the job at this point, so he actually could retire if he wanted to, and he says to you, "If I don't see it, it's yours." He says, "But let me know so you can throw me something later on." It was like the
Win-win.
whole vision of this thing changed at that moment. It's basically saying, if you get there, it's yours. Take what you can before I get there, because I don't
Before
want
you
to
ever
witness it, because I
prove
don't
it.
want to have to witness it.
Was he taking money?
Well, he'd say no, but clearly he was indicating that it's good. Just don't let me see it.
When you reflect on that scene that you arrived at, you said there was a 20-year-old man that was dead.
Yeah.
Did seeing those scenes ever bother you?
Initially, my first DOA was my first day. Guy jumped off a building and landed on his head. That bothered me because the family showed up. It was horrific. And I got to hold the family back and don't touch him because it could be a murder. We don't know. We don't know why he's dead. It's a crime scene, essentially. I began to see people shot, stabbed. You have a total disconnect, like really quickly. The first shooting I was at was doing a midnight shift, and the guys were doing a burglary of a car. They were stealing tires and had tire irons. And I said, "Hey, we should stop these guys." And my buddy Sal's like, "Nah," my partner, "Nah, let them go. It's late." Someone flags us down. "Hey, this guy's trying to steal tires off a car." So now I said, "Look, we got civilians complaining about the same people that we should have just tossed." Turn around, go back about 2 or 3 blocks. Guy's dead in the street. and I see a tire iron. So I said to the people, were they carrying a jacket or a tire iron? And they go, yeah. And they point over to the street where the tire iron was for taking the wheels off a car. This guy could have shot us, like he's dead. It could have been us, or if we did toss this guy, he could not be dead. So when you come that close to death itself, your survival instincts give you an ability to disconnect fairly quickly from those types of scenes.
Did you ever show up to a scene where you saw someone dead or dying and feel sad?
Yes. Yeah, a couple of times, but more important, one that strikes me a lot. I was talking to the guy who was going out. I know he was going to die. You know, it was just he was stabbed in the stomach, and he's looking at me, and he goes, "I'm getting cold." I go, "Yeah, it's going to be okay." He says, "I'm getting cold, officer." I said, "Oh, you're going to be okay. We're going to get you to the hospital." You know, the ambulance showed up like 5 minutes later, and he was barely conscious when he got in the ambulance, and he wasn't going to make it, and he died. And that was sad because I couldn't do anything for him. I'm like.
You saw a lot of stuff. Why did that affect you?
I felt bad because I was talking to him, knowing he's going to die. Like, and one other time I felt really bad. Some guy who was, I guess he was getting laid, young guy.
See that saying? He felt bad, so I would say it's FI. FI. I felt bad. I felt bad.
A big, heavy set, strong, powerful black guy. His wife is like. I looked at her. She goes, I'm like, I could tell it was a sexual thing. They had sex. And the fucking guy was like 35 years old. And he was either dead or dying. He had a heart attack. And I wanted to give him CPR. But it would have been my first actual CPR case, you know. And the two cops I was working with go, no, don't worry about it. Go get the ambulance.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. Go get the ambulance. I'm like, shouldn't we do CPR? No. You go outside. I was the kid. I was the rookie. And these two old timers were like, don't worry about it. It's going to be all right. Go outside and direct the ambulance in. Like 2 minutes later, the ambulance showed up. They started CPR on the guy, and he died. To not render aid when you think you can make a difference, that hurts.
Why did they tell you not to render aid to him?
I don't know. I don't know why. They didn't tell me why, you know. And it was very disheartening because I think I could have helped save the guy. But what am I going to do? Wrestle with these guys? And, you know, they go get they're in charge. Senior cop on the scene is in charge.
At some point you started.
Affiliative, right? Senior cop, senior whatever, senior what you call it, they're in charge. Gotta do what they say. You know, got to do what they fucking say, man.
This
actually
one's
dealing
kind of a bit
drugs.
of a wash, man. I said this one's a bit of a wash, man, because almost everything he's been doing is pragmatic, but he's.
But it's circulated in the affiliative way. Like even though he is, you would say that it's pragmatic. It's he keeps telling you how he checked it off with everybody. Like checked it off with the SARS, you know, checked it off with this. Like he keeps laying that out into the what you call it. So you can see that like even though like you would say that it's a pragmatic thing, he's still circling it with through the affiliative, right? Well, the SARS said it was okay. Okay, SARS, what if I took this $600? You know, right there, I'm listening to these higher up people. You know, that's just showing you that he is affiliative. Um, that's what I would say. I think we're done here. PC, what do you think? Yeah.
Yeah, man.
All right, guys. This guy's ENFP. ENFP. Um, I think he's normalizing PC. What do you
Yeah,
think?
he actually seems relatively switched on.
Yeah, that's it. So he's normalizing.
Yeah, he's a slimy fuck, but yeah, he's not dumb.
Yeah, he's not dumb. So yeah, I say he's normalizing. Yeah. I would say probably in normalizing slash normalizing there or ENFP. Why he's a fucking cop. Um, It's interesting to see, guys. The important part is just like seeing the difference between all these types and like how they can go about it. Like how would the ENFP become the biggest fucking dirty cop, you know? It's interesting to see that and how it takes form, you know. Every if you see there, like I was saying, like he always makes sure he checked it off with somebody up higher than him, right? Well, what if I did this, you know? And they kept kind of checking it off. So, hey, it's come dog eat dog world. I'm gonna do what I do, you know. Um, you think normalized starts creative? I think double N, man. You think normalized starts creative?
Okay,
I think double
that's
N.
fine. I
Yeah.
don't know. I didn't hear the second part. That's all.
I was thinking normalizing overall, like very normalizing. Enneagram, bro, I really don't know. I mean, I could see somebody say he's a seven. I don't think he's a seven though. I really don't think he's a seven where he's just like got to like chase adrenaline. Um, he's not a three. He's not a one, obviously. Um, he's not a fucking four. He's not a fucking five. So by default, he can only be a two and a six. I don't know, man. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I mean, between two and a six, I've never had to deal with like a dirty cop, you know, dirty ass ENFP. Um,
Yeah, he's a strange one, man.
he's a strange motherfucker, man. You know. But ENFPs can be like that though. I think out of the loop there, out of those four, ENFP and INFJ, those could be
Yeah,
like
I was I was I was about to say the same thing. They can mirror their surroundings quite easily.
yeah, they can toe
Um,
the line of fucking pragmatic, especially if that's like what the INFJ kind of visualizes and like the rest of the group makes it okay. They can do some nasty
mm,
shit, man. Some nasty, nasty shit. And then the ENFP with the NE, bro, just, oh, you know, they only see
mm,
the upsides of NE. They only see the
mm.
upsides of what could happen, right? And that can land you into a lot of fucking problems. Enneagram will leave it, roll the demigod, what you thinking?
Ooh.
That's a tough one, right?
Say above average.
Yeah, above average ENFP.
Yeah. But yeah, what you were saying about the just about them being like kind of pragmatic is as the catalyst, they've actually got the most ability to change the other people around them. But a
Hmm.
lot of the times, yeah, they allow themselves to essentially be the sponge instead of society be the sponge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it kind of sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and whatever Enneagram he is, either two or six, he's definitely self-preserving because he was definitely trying to self-preserve. So he's SP. I would say two or six, he's SP. He's one of those. I would say SP maybe. Yeah. I mean, but if I had to go for it, I would say maybe he's a 6W7 SP slash SX. That's what I would go with. If you had to put a gun to my head, I would go with a six. Because you got a little bit of that seven wing that can make him, you know, with the NE. But
Mm,
that's what I would go with. Yeah, this is an interesting one because we got to do something
mm,
different and react to it. I hope you guys learn, you know, how ENFP can become the dirtiest cop and how that can move around. You know, he's always checking with that authority, making sure the authority gives him the okay, you know, even though he's doing shitty shit. Um, while like a pragmatic person probably wouldn't check with authority. He wouldn't say, Sarge, well,
mm,
what if I took this money? Pragmatic person wouldn't say shit. Fuck it.
mm,
I made the decision, autonomy, right? Instead of like cooperation. But as long as everybody else says it's okay and it's good and it's not really hurting anyone, like he said, like and he kept going about it, it's not really hurting anybody because these people are dead. They don't need that porn anymore. They don't need that $600. They don't need that, you know. It is what it is. Like they're dead and gone. So it wasn't really hurting anybody. So it makes it even more okay to do it. Just looking at it from that perspective. PC, anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Nah, man, that's pretty much covered it.
All right, guys, we'll catch you guys on the next one, and we're out.
All right.